Tony's not here, I get to do that. He usually thinks it's his job, and that's okay. We do miss him, by the way. That was beautiful, beautiful. And we're so appreciative. I know that there's so many times we see so much going on in the world. The children over there in Gaza, the suffering, the pain, the crime, so many different things, the war in Ukraine. And we wonder, how in the world can I make a difference? I want to make a difference, but we know there's only so much we can do, don't we? I remember the words of Sister Ann. She was one of the directors at a master's program, a graduate program that I went through at a Catholic college. It's some of the kindest, most wonderful women I've ever met in my life that were there. And we were talking one evening during one of the residencies, and she said that we're all here, each and every one of us. We've come from such diverse backgrounds and places from all around the world. And she said the one thing that we have in common is we want to make the world a better place. How do we do that? And she said we each and every one of us, and we know this, we each have unique gifts and talents. We all can't do everything. Even if we could, there's not enough energy nor time, is there? So she said this. It was very, very wise, and I've remembered it over the years. And that is that you have to choose what it is that you want to do with your life and give it your best. And that's how you're going to make a difference in the world. And I think of her so often, and every once in a while I look the site up, and the St. Mary of the Woods College in Terre Haute, Indiana, and they're still there. She's still there. And they're still following some of the programs that they initiated there. And I just say a prayer for them and the work that they're doing to make the world a better place. But it's hard to know sometimes, isn't it? You say, well, my goodness, what about those children over there in Gaza? How in the world can I help them? And we know that we can give money to those things that are important to us, that are priorities. But then esoterically and metaphysically, there are ways that we can make a difference in the world. And I want to talk about those first, and then I'll talk about a few practical ones. Will Bowen is a colleague of mine. He's also a Unity minister, and he started a program many years ago called A Complaint-Free World. And in this program, he recognized how complainers, if that's all they're doing is complaining, and there's a difference between recognizing that something could be done better and making achievements, movements toward that, and just being a chronic complainer. But he came up with these words, and I want you to listen. Listen to these. They're very touching. In a vineyard, one grape will begin to ripen, and in so doing will send out a vibration, an enzyme, a fragrance, or an energy field of some kind that's picked up by the other grapes. This one grape signals the other grapes that it's time to change. It's time to ripen. And as you become a person who holds only the highest and the best for yourself and others in your words and in your thoughts, you will signal to all those around you simply by who you are that it's time for a change. Without even trying, you will raise the consciousness of those around you and the world. Do you believe that? Do you? I hope you do. I hope you do. There's science behind that, of course, where the grapes are concerned. And some science, we were talking about that in our discussion group this morning about change, and that physics and all sorts of things that we can point to for how change takes place in the invisible realms. And I love, first time I read these words, I just about tattooed them on my heart. They were so beautiful, and these were truly, truly inspired. Okay, as I ripen, I send out a vibration, an enzyme, a fragrance. Ah, isn't that lovely? That it's going to signal others that it's time to ripen, to change. And I just love that thought. I love that visual. And as you become that person who holds only the highest and the best for yourself and others in your words and thoughts, you're going to signal others that it is time to change. So your inner peace, the more you work on that, incorporating inner peace into your being, the more you do that, the more peace you will bring into the world. In our discussion group this morning, we were talking about Don Manuel Ruiz, who wrote the 4 Agreements, and then he has since written other books. But he essentially said the same thing, that who you are and how you are being can be felt by others around you. And it will actually change. It'll change the room. And then as those people change and go out into the world, they change the world too. One person, one group at a time. Now, what are some of the things we don't do if we want to bring inner peace into our own lives? We, as Will Bowen said, we want the best and the highest for everyone concerned, because we understand that each and every one of us is an expression of God. We're unique expressions, and we're not to judge. Now, does that mean that we just allow others to run all over us? Because we know there can be some pretty bad actors out there, can't there? There really can. They can take advantage of us. They can even rob us if we're not careful. So what does that mean? We just allow people to roll over us? No, of course not. We were given wisdom. We were given the powers of wisdom and discernment, and we use that to know what is best. And we learn to be peaceful inside, and if we're doing the highest good for another, sometimes the thing to do is to say no. As Oprah says, if you see crazy coming down the street, cross to the other side. I believe it was Oprah that said that. She said, don't make eye contact. Don't engage in any way. If you see a bad actor coming, you are not helping them by participating with them in their bad behavior. In the end, you're not helping them. You are not. And you're certainly not helping the world. So yes, sometimes we do have choices when we want to do the highest and the best. It may mean that the situation right in front of us may be one that we need to step away from and say no to, or pick up our phone and call 911. I think that can be an act of kindness and a miracle sometimes too. So, because we want to be realists here, I don't want to stand up here and say a whole lot of things that you're going back out in the world and say, well, now, how's that work? You're saying I need to be kind and compassionate to everybody. Well, yes, kindness and compassion, but it does not mean that you roll over for people that do not want the highest good for all. But it does not mean either that you ever take delight in seeing them punished. You pray for them too. We pray for everybody. We don't want to see anyone harmed, ever. So that's one of the ways that you're growing spiritually too, is when you can move above, beyond, away from the need to see vengeance of any type. You can move away from that. So your inner peace radiating outward, can you feel that? Can you feel inner peace? Can you feel we were talking about that earlier in our discussion group. How does that feel when you allow the love and the light of God, the Creator, the Source, whatever it is, whatever you want it to come from, the sun, the moon, the stars, allow that in. The love that comes from the great star maker, allow that into your heart. And share it, however that looks. So if we want to be a bringer of light, some of the practical steps that we can take, not just the unseen one, but some actual practical steps that you can take. You first need to be aware that you are powerful. Did you know that? There's a power within you. All the great masters have said that. Jesus said that. What I do, you can do. So you need to know first that there is a power within you. And we say every week, I have faith that God is my instant, constant, abundant supply, and I have faith that God is right here within me. And that's the way I live. We first need to be aware of that and allow that light and love from the heavenly realms to enter you right here. However you feel it come in from the source through and to you. Share this light and love with the world. Now, how's an easy way to do that? I've told you so many times, you already know. When you smile, what do? You're kind of like those grapes earlier. You release some endorphins. You release some chemistry right within your own body, your physicality, right there by smiling. It will make you feel better. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. Smile. And then as you smile at others, the next thing you find out is that smiling is contagious. And it is, and the next thing you know, they'll be smiling and laughing too, won't they, Dee? See? I've just made him smile and laugh. I try to. Always show your appreciation. Take nothing for granted. Were you thankful for anything this morning? Any of you? Were you thankful? I'm thankful for those beautiful blue and purple hydrangea that Joan brought. I'm thankful for the earth and the water that grew them, the sun. Whew, we're thankful. Beautiful. Thank you, Joan. Thankful for everyone that came today. Just grateful. Grateful. I wake up being grateful to you. First thing I say is, oh my goodness, good morning, God, and thank God for that cup of coffee. Oh boy. Thank you. Be grateful. I think that what happens sometimes is that we forget, we take so many things for granted until they're not there, till electricity's gone, or the gas is off, or the traffic lights aren't working, or the internet's off, the Wi-Fi, or your phone goes on the blink. We take them for granted, but then we remember suddenly, don't we, when they come back on. So show your appreciation and take nothing for granted. Watch your thoughts, words, and actions, and always be aware of what you're feeling. Always. Because that feeling is that's the vibe that you're sending out into the world. And if you're feeling resentment, anger, unforgiveness, hatred, any of those negative feelings, you are not contributing to your own good, much less the world. So be aware of those feelings. They will tell you more than anything. If you've had a thought that comes up that's worrisome, immediately you'll know it because you feel it, don't you? You know how that feels. There are a couple of other things I wanted to mention this morning, and I love that the word was optimism, because Will Bowen, the man I spoke of earlier that came up with the Complaint-Free World campaign, and he also he reminds us we get to choose every moment. And we think we don't have a choice. But even if we have pain, even if we have grief, even if we're going through a really difficult time, we can still bring some joy in. And one of the things he, as just an example, he said, look at a little child. You can see a child that's in a whole lot of pain, but all of a sudden you get their attention away from it and make them laugh, and they will actually forget the pain totally and be joyful for that period of time. And you can do that. You can do it. But he was talking about pessimism. He said you get to choose whether you're pessimistic or optimistic. And with pessimism, with complaining, you're just spreading a dark cloud around the world, aren't you? When we lived in Tennessee, I had a woman that I walked with sometimes. I really cared for her. she and her sister-in-law, they didn't really like each other, but the three of us would walk, and anyway, it's a long story. But the one, she grew up during really hard times in upstate Ohio, and she was one of the most pessimistic, critical people I've ever known in my life. And you could tell by being with her that she had learned that. I mean, from the time she was born, you could tell that she had learned that was the way to live, was to criticize others, find fault, judge, be mean, do anything you could. And so I actually started praying for her because I knew her to actually be a loving person. I knew that was in there somewhere because when her brother was hurt in an accident, she was just almost inconsolable. And I knew she was a loving, compassionate person, but she just kept it well hid. Well hidden. And I would pray for her, and I pray for her still now if she's still upon this earth. But she learned that from the cradle. There is no doubt. You could see that she had learned it. And she had never known anything different. She never had a lesson that taught her to be different than that all the time that I knew her. And I hope that she had after then. But pessimistic people, and they need to find fault with everything. They just bring a dark cloud along with them. You know that. You know that. But being optimistic and joyful, you're spreading light everywhere. The light and love from the Creator. There's a benefit to this. Not only are you making the world a better place just by feeling, by your thoughts, by your words, by your actions and your kindness, but there's a tremendous benefit that comes flowing right back to you. And it is so powerful, and it will absolutely change your life. And I hope that you will choose that. And that added benefit of sending good vibes out into the world is that good continually flows back to you in numerous ways. So this morning, I hope that you'll, if you remember nothing else, I hope you will remember that example of the grapes and sending off that lovely, lovely fragrance and making the world a better place. Thank you for your time.